Hi, I'm George, and I'll be showing you how to do a Photoshop Elements mockup, making a product look as if it actually exists. We'll put this business card here on that stack of business cards back there. We'll do the same thing over here, different version of that, and I'll also show you what you can't do here inside of Photoshop Elements. Okay, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to share and also subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you get notifications as well. I do a bunch of videos every single week. You can also find out more about my complete training course for Photoshop Elements, and there's a link for that right down there in the description. Okay, let's get to it. You can easily do this type of Photoshop Elements mockup where we're just taking something which is basically a rectangle and putting it into another rectangle position that's just put into a perspective like that. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. This is just a quick business card mock-up that I did, kind of a fake business card. We'll put this on top of that stack so it looks like we have a whole stack of business cards in here. Now what you need to do, I'm just going to get this out of the way like that. What you need to do is to put guidelines in at the corners right here. Now you want a guideline outside of your image. So this one would be over here, not across that way because that goes into the image, but outside like that, outside like this, outside like that. So I'll do that. You'll need to have your rulers showing. So make sure you go to View and you have rulers showing, also that you have guides showing as well. And you'll want to have Snap to Guides checked. Okay, so go ahead, we'll do the top one first. I'll just grab the top right here. Just pull the ruler straight down. This pulls a guideline down. Put it right on the corner of the image right there. Do the same thing from the left-hand side. If you want to, you can zoom in on these and get them really precise. There we go. I'll just go back here to my Move tool. You can go back onto a guideline and notice how the cursor changes when you're on the guideline little tool right there. That means you can then move that guideline around. So you can come back in and you can really refine these, get them exactly where you want them. And then someplace up here is our top one. Pull it down right to there. That looks good. Let's get that right hand side. We'll do this one zoomed in. Again, I'll grab the vertical guideline, pull that in and put it right on that corner. There it is. And I'll come down and I'll find that bottom corner and we'll get that one as well. So right down about there. There we go. Let's now go back to Fit on Screen. So there's our basic guidelines. They're a little bit hard to see here because the background color is so close to the guideline color, but it works out okay. Let's now grab this image here. I have this on a separate layer, as you can see right there. And it's just an image with transparency around it. Now bring this up inside and place one of your corners. Now notice we have our little corner control handles in there. You can take those and it will snap. If you have Snap to selected up here, Snap to Guides, it'll snap right to that point. That's what you want. You just want to get one of your corners. I'll take that one right there and put it right on that corner. It'll snap to the guideline and then we'll just kind of manually put it at that position. Now we need to distort this image to fit into our background photograph. So let's go up to Image, come down to Transform and choose Distort. With this, we can grab any of our control handles and put that anywhere you want to. So I'll just take this one right here and I'll put that one right up into that corner right there. It's going to snap to that line. So all I have to do is just move it left or right to get the right position. Same thing over here. We'll grab this one. It'll snap to this vertical line and then I'll just move it up into position, which is right there. And the same thing with this bottom left hand corner right down here. Just move it up so it snaps to the line and then pull it into position and choose OK. And there we go. We can go ahead now and hide those guides. Just uncheck that. And there it is. We've now taken that business card that we had right down here and put it into perspective so it looks as if this is a whole stack of those business cards, and we've turned this into a business card mock-up. So again, pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. It's really just putting in some guidelines and then using that Distort tool. Let's look at another use of the same technique. Go here to this image here. Now in this one, there's a kind of fun little picture right down here, and here's the same business card layer right there. Now this isn't exactly rectangular and it's not exactly straight either. It's kind of tilted a little bit off to the left hand side. We can still put this in there using that exact same technique. I'll just zoom in. There we are. So I'll pull in a guideline from the left-hand side here. Looks like the upper left-hand corner right there. That's good. I'll pull it in over here. This will be the bottom right-hand corner. Again, I want to have the guidelines so it's touching the one corner and it goes outside of the image on the other corner. So that's correct. So up here, here's our vertical one. And that's that top corner right up here. And then one more for that bottom corner right down over here. So the same basic idea. It's just not as big of a move as we did before. Let's just scroll down. I'll grab the picture here, pull this one up. Now the picture is quite a bit too large, so I'll just grab the corner up here and I'll pull this down. There we go. And then let's put that top corner in again. Looks good there. And now while it's still selected, let's go up to Image, Transform, and Distort. And then begin pulling in these other corners. That one is right there. This corner is right down here on that guideline, right there. And then this one comes right down over to that point there. So it's not much of a change, but it's enough. There we are. Let's go ahead now. I'll hide those guides. Just uncheck that. And let's go back to Fit on Screen. And there we go. Again, we've made that pretty quick, pretty easy mock-up on this just by taking the business card and using that Distort tool to reposition that just enough so it fits in the proper perspective. So that's the kind of thing that you can easily do here inside of Photoshop Elements. Now here's a bigger one there, more of a dramatic change, but that works out well. This is less of a change, but still works out well using the exact same technique. Let me show you now what you cannot do here inside of Photoshop Elements, and that's curved surfaces. So let's say I wanted to put this picture right here onto this coffee mug. Now because of the perspective of that curve, the top of this picture should have the matching curve to the top of the glass, and the bottom should match pretty close to the bottom of the glass. Unfortunately, there's no tool in here inside of Photoshop Elements to do that. This is easy to do in other programs like Adobe's Photoshop. No problem over there, and that's where I would do this. But in Elements, we don't have that ability to do this kind of warping controllably on an image. You can try to get close if you use the Liquify filter. So if you had no other option and you had to do something, it's not perfect, but you can get, you can get okay. Let me show you that, but I don't recommend this. If you have to do this kind of mock-up, you really should be using a more advanced program like Adobe's Photoshop. Okay, let's see what you can do in here. Now I've tried everything I could think of on this, all the different distort filters. I tried everything I could think of. The only thing which got anywhere close was the Liquify filter. Now the Liquify filter comes in as a floating window on top of your program right back there. There we go. Now you can zoom in and out on this. I'll just zoom in right here. Here's the zoom control. That's pretty good. And you have all these different distortions up here. The only one we care about is this top one right there. This is the warp tool. You can see there's the brush size on this tool. Now for this kind of a curve, you want a brush size that's a bit more than twice as big. That's a little bit more than twice as big right there. I can get a little bit larger over here. I'm just going to type in 600. Looks like that would be about right. Okay, that's pretty close. And then come up here to the top area somewhere. Try to find your middle point and then pull straight down. You can do a little bit of a curve that way. Notice how it's distorting the picture though. Come straight down again and pull straight down here and try to get that same curve back in. But her face is still distorted, so I'll come in here in the middle someplace. I'll pull it down a little bit like that, and I can get, close. It's not perfect, it's not great, but it's about the best you can do here inside of Photoshop Elements. Once that's done, choose OK, and there we go. There is that curve. Now again, I'd only do this if I had no other option because it's really not very good. The curve isn't exact. It's kind of warped in here. The bottom isn't a very good curve either. In a pinch, in a hurry, it's okay. But for a good work, it really doesn't work out that well. That's why I say that Photoshop Elements will not do this kind of a curved surface mock-up. So if you have to do curved surface mock-ups, then I recommend getting a different program. My personal choice is Adobe's Photoshop, the more powerful version there as opposed to the Photoshop Elements. So there you go. A couple of things you can do here inside of Photoshop Elements real easy. If you're working with rectangular shapes onto a rectangular shape, no problem. There's one. There's a second one. If you're going onto a curved surface, then you're really not going to be getting a good result in here inside of Photoshop Elements. Okay, so there you go. That is doing a Photoshop Elements mockup. Now, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. And take a look at my complete training course for Photoshop Elements. And there's a link for that right down there at the top of the description.